Okay, welcome everyone to yet another Sunday with the Xbox Roundtable podcast. This is show number 238. Naturally, this is Invader, your host for the evening, and I hope you all had an awesome, wonderful, fun-filled weekend. Hopefully, we cap it off well for you. There is a heck of a lot to go over tonight with the crew, as lots of topics, including Xbox is accusing PlayStation of blocking content going onto Game Pass. Also, Microsoft and Unity have formed a partnership of sorts. We will delve into that. As well, we have leaks popping up for a new version of the Elite 2 controller. We'll get into all that. But, lots and lots of stuff tonight. Oh boy, I tell you. But before we get into all the talking points, let me introduce the entirety of the panel. Joining us tonight is a new face, or, well, I guess you say voice in this case, really. He's a big gamer, and you may have seen him in the chat. Everybody, please welcome Dots. How you doing, bud?
I'm doing great. It's Sunday night. I'm dressing my Sunday best, which is a pair of shorts. And I'm hyped. Thank you so much for having me. These are big budget topics, and I am so hyped to talk about them.
Nice. Well, we're a big budget show, obviously, so we can't wait to get into them. Well, obviously not that big of a budget, but it's exciting, having you on the show. I understand this is your first podcast, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct. This is my first time on a podcast. I was once on like a college radio show at one point. Ironically, it was Sunday mornings, and I ran just a very short 2-hour segment. Occasionally, would be able to choose my own music to play, talk to some of the people who called in. But no, this is my first time on like the potential world screen. So very hyped, very happy to be here.
All right. Well, everybody in the chat, give him a warm welcome, of course. And just out of curiosity, Dots, like, what kind of games do you like? Like, specifically Xbox or just, any console, PC, whatever it may be. What kind of games do you like, or what are you playing right now?
So, I started with a PS2. It was just what my parents gave me. But as soon as I hit high school, met with the friend group, got into Xbox 360. And that's where the love stayed. It was about community. It was about playing Halo nonstop whatsoever. A lot of Mass Effect with Crusader, even buying loot boxes out the wazoo. And but that love stayed. I got an Xbox One X. I haven't upgraded to the higher end consoles yet. Shortages, be damned. But besides that, I'm big on the PC gaming front at the moment. I've been playing a lot of Monster Hunter recently. I cannot remove this chain around my leg, stopping me from playing Destiny 2. I've been doing that for 7 years going strong, if not longer. So I'm a slave to it at this point. And like I said, very big into Monster Hunter. Really excited for if you guys seen my Twitter at all, I talk a lot of big RTS games. I used to play a lot of StarCraft back when, Activision Blizzard had some respect. Really big into Total War, Warhammer 3 right now. Excited in just a week or two, they're going to bring out Immortal Empires, literally combining all three of those games into one big, massive map, all the factions. It's going to be awesome. And in November, I believe, or maybe even earlier than that, is Company of Heroes 3. I have me and two of my friends play Company of Heroes 2 a lot, and so we're excited for the third game of that. So yeah, big on the RTS front. Still play a lot of Destiny, and I've also just really like Monster Hunter at the current moment. They just had a content drop, so I've been playing a lot of that.
All right. Well, hey, you got a lot of variety there. That's cool, man. Honestly, good stuff all around. All right. Well, we will move over to the TXR panel here, starting off with General MLD. Buddy, how's the weekend treating you?
Oh, yeah, pretty good. Let's see here. By the way, our guest here had great taste in video games there. A lot of overlap there with some of the crew here. But right now I'm just playing just a couple recommendations from Twitter. Was it Binary, a domain, like an old 360 hidden gem? I'm just trying that out. It's pretty good. It's like a Japanese Gears of War, not bad. Also playing like a little bit of Burnout Revenge on the side. Just some 360 old backlog games and just getting out of the way. Yeah, pretty good time, and they're pretty cheap too. So yeah, looking forward to today's talk.
Nice. I picked that up on a backwards compatibility sale a few weeks ago. I should dive into that. Oh, nice.
I did too.
Well, funny story. I picked up a physical copy of it. I found one, and then I saw the sale. I'm like, I don't know. I don't usually double dip, but okay. I thought I'd get the digital version because it's cheap. So yeah, why not?
Yeah, so far so good.
Yeah.
It's like it's an interesting story. It's like Gears of War 4. You know, the main enemy are robots. It's like you're fighting the DBs. I don't know.
Oh yeah, interesting comparison. Yeah, I guess so. But yeah, no, I want to check it out. I've heard good things. Moving on down the list here, Eric Shockley, my friend. How's things going at your end? Have you been doing any gaming? What you been up to?
Yeah, pretty good. Did you say binary domain was backwards compatible?
Yeah.
Right.
I could have sworn it was.
FPS boost, I believe. It was FPS
Okay.
boosted.
And
I think it had a
FPS
4K
boost.
patch.
Yeah.
Okay. I think I was looking at an old list when I was trying to when I recently picked up a 360 just for those few that aren't still backwards compatible. But I think I was looking at an old list of like best exclusives or best 360 games that aren't backwards compatible. But I guess that one slipped by. So cool. I'll just pick that up when it's on hopefully on another sale. But yeah, just I don't know if I've even gotten to play much this week. I think I've still dipped back a little bit into Soul Hackers on the 3DS. I don't know if I'm going to finish it before the sequel drops, but hopefully I did recently, for whether or not I'll ever get to it, bought the Destiny 2 expansion, the Witch Queen and Beyond Light. I played Beyond Light when it was in Game Pass, but I just couldn't get myself to drop the money at the time. So we'll see if I get back into it. I just did it because it was on sale and I had a bunch of credit saved up from stuff I had traded in. So we'll see. It's there if I ever get to it. But yeah, Destiny is a tricky animal to jump back into. It's like if it's cool if you like never left, but if you left and you're trying to onboard back, it's not forgiving.
To talk to Crusader, he knows how to get people back into Destiny when they don't want to.
The new player experience is very bad, though. It is very bad, and returning player experience. That is something that Bungie really needs to work on.
Yeah, I jumped back in when they put it in the Game Pass with Beyond Light, and it was just like I have no idea what to do first. And I think I'm heading a quest, and I'm not really doing what I'm thinking. There's just like so many markers because you have so many expansions, and I don't know. They could make it a way where you could like not lose everything. I guess at some point they feel like they just like, hey, no one's playing this, so we're just gonna get rid of it even though you paid for it. But that's the only sad part is if you come late to a party, good luck finding people, and you got a limited amount of time before they just cut it for good. But
all right,
that's the life of Destiny. Hopefully they come out with Destiny 3 and then I can just jump back on fresh or something. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
At least 2 more years of Destiny 2. We got 2 more expansions to go.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Since Crusader's in here, let me at least ask the question. I heard they're sunsetting stuff not because people aren't playing it, but because when the game gets too big, it starts creating a lot of glitches. So there's a very serious flaw in the game engine that's used with Destiny from what I've heard.
So that's kind of correct. Both of those statements are true. Actually, all 3 of those statements are true. The code base for the live service game, for them to be able to push out constant updates and balance changes and new content, when there's so much to the game, even adding something simple can break something somewhere else completely in the game. So what their solution was, and they've even said that it wasn't an optimal solution, and they're looking for ways to streamline it in the future, was to vault content that players were not playing a ton of, right? That like 3 years later, only like 3% or less of the community was still engaging with. So their solution to the game file size becoming like hundreds of gigs and it causing issues with maintaining the live service game and all that jazz and like constant bugs and stuff that come out with new launches was to vault content that players weren't engaging with anymore. And we have seen the results of this. There's been less bugs, and when bugs do happen, they get fixed significantly faster. So like they met their goal in what they were setting out to do, but it has led problems to onboarding, problems to catching people up on the story, and things like that they still haven't solved. So I'm interested to see, and they've admitted that these are problems. So I'm interested to see how they fix that in the future.
All right. Some interesting, some good comments there, pal. Good comments, Crusader. Moving on down the list here, since you were chatting there, Centurion pal, how's the past week been for you?
It's been pretty good, man. Finally got off my vacation, went back to work. What fun that was. But no, just kind of relaxing, playing games when I can. I'm pretty sure I'm playing everybody's not so favorite game franchise right now. And that's I believe it's like Frog Studios or whatever they're called, the Sherlock Holmes games. And I've already done Crime and Punishment. I did The Devil's Daughter. The stories are actually quite good, and when you get into with Sherlock Holmes Chapter 1, it's like at least playing the games in order. You could see in the first game there was no open world. When you would touch a door to go somewhere, it would take you straight. Like if you had to go to a train station, loading screen, you're in the train station. Second game, it got it to where you could go outside and wander around and actually interact with London. The third game, though, complete open world sandbox. You're running around doing all sorts of stuff. They've introduced gunplay, and it's just really cool to see a developer take something simple as what people would consider a puzzle game, make it open world, and then make it into like a sandbox open world. And while keeping true to the original concept of the game. And I've actually been just having a lot of fun playing these games. Don't ask me why. But yeah, that's pretty much the gaming I've been doing, is just kind of diving into these games. So yeah, that's why I say it's everybody's favorite game franchise, because I know everybody's just frothing at the mouth to play a Sherlock Holmes game. But no, man, it's Sunday. Time to talk about Xbox gaming and all the drama that takes place on social media. It's going to be definitely an interesting conversation tonight, because I mean, my God, there's been a lot of interesting conversations taking place, because man, everybody's talking, including governments.
No doubt. And also, by the way, I played some Frogwares games. Not so much
Frogware.
Yeah, that's right. Not so much the Sherlock Holmes games, but I played the Sinking City, which was a Lovecraftian kind of game with it's very dark, it had detective-y aspects to it, but it's
in my backlog, and I plan to actually start it after these Sherlock Holmes games.
Yeah, no, it's an interesting game. You might want to check out my review actually for it. Frogwares does some good things for the budgets that they allocate, so not knocking them by any ways.
At least to give the guy a shout out. I got Sinking City from Dealer Gaming on one of his Patreon giveaways, where they pull your name out of the like random hat that he has online, and you pick the game you want. And yeah, he sent me Sinking City, so it's been sitting in my backlog for far too long.
The sinking backlog.
It's more like my drowning backlog. I'm drowning in it.
Yeah,
Xbox came out with Game Pass.
I feel your pain, buddy. I feel your pain, like we all do. Chat, definitely. Do you agree with me? Feel the pain of the backlog, the sinking backlog. Let me know in the chat. And finally, who do we got? A Crusader. How you been?
Good. I've been very good. Earlier, Dots was saying, how I go through like 1.5 billion games in comparison, and that has slowed down dramatically because I am playing a very long game right now, and that is Horizon Forbidden West. And my lord, do I think it's fun. It is the best way I can describe it is Horizon Zero Dawn, the original one, feels like an experiment, and this is the result of that experiment. Looking at the feedback from it, and I'm having so much fun going for the platinum. I looked it up. I have 6 trophies left, and all of them are story related.
Did they finally patch the game to where it's actually decently playable?
I've had a few bugs. Not gonna lie, it is definitely not the it's not nearly as stable as the first one. I think a lot of my issues are like as soon as I restart my console, is like if I have to stop using rest mode because rest mode seems to screw things up a lot with the game. And if I don't launch the game from rest mode or quit it out and just restart it completely, I have like no issues. I have a couple issues that are very common in a lot of games like this, where like you're fighting with an NPC and then the NPC has to move to a particular spot for you to talk to them, but they get stuck on the terrain. And that's very common in a lot of like open world games that have like similar systems like that. And that outside of like dialogue screwing up when I'm playing from rest mode, that's really the only issues I've had with the game.
All right. Good stuff. Just so everybody knows, TimDog won't be making it tonight. He's in the dog pound, so to speak. But he should be back next week. Don't you guys worry. But yeah, before we begin, guys, just a reminder to share this out and give the show a like, as it helps us with those algorithms, those dastardly algorithms. And also, don't forget that we are on a number of both audio and visual platforms, whether it be Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or Rumble, Odyssey, and so on. Hey, check us out there if you're on those platforms. A lot easier to find your TXR content if you just don't use YouTube, whatnot, or not as much, and you experiment with other platforms. All the links down below in the description. But on that note, why don't we move on to our first topic tonight? And I know a lot of the guys are really want to get into it. And it's been a bit of a hot topic, this one, the past week. After reports of Sony's concerns with Microsoft owning the Call of Duty IP, that came out the previous week. We had discussed it. Well, Microsoft has since we got reports of them firing back at Sony, stating that Sony's concerns are incoherent, as they're stating, and also that Microsoft's ability to continue expanding Game Pass has been obstructed by Sony's desire to inhibit such growth. Ooh, very interesting comments there. Also, Sony pays for blocking rights to prevent developers from adding content to Game Pass and other competing services. Ooh, shots fired. Damn, honestly, things are getting pretty feisty now from the sounds of things, at least to me. Dots, buddy, you know what? You're our guest. Why don't we kick things off with you here, bud? Slowly, we're finding out more and more information regarding the legal battles for the acquisition of Activision Blizzard King. Microsoft has been firing back at Sony. What's your take on Microsoft's accusations towards Sony here?
Well, I knew the second I joined you guys that this was the playing hot potato with a flashbang grenade. Like this is the topic, and so I'll take that first bout. So obviously, I haven't dug as deep into this topic as I'm sure almost all of you have. I do have to say, Microsoft, I think, is in the right calling them out. This is, especially on the blocking fees. I think that's a very underhanded business trick. It almost comes off as a U.S. political move. It's almost reading like a political article, but just between game companies rather than U.S. politics. So I just saw that and I was just like, it's reading the same thing, like how underhanded that was. And honestly, I think Microsoft calling them out, it's like that's pushing it too far. You guys are honestly cutting at every string on of the balloons you got, and you're just losing balloons every time you cut those strings because you think that we're gonna fall off before you do. And no, I saw the fact that Microsoft not only called them out but gave them advice and said, hey, if you put out your first party games on PS Plus, we wouldn't be in this situation. We wouldn't be having this problem. You would be in the same positive situation as us. People would be flowing to PS Plus because they want those first party games on your service. And the fact that Microsoft literally told them, hey, this is how you do it and this is how you're going to succeed, that just shows Microsoft a step above Sony in that regard. It is about new innovative business models. It's about getting out of those old ways where it's less about the war and more about the players. And I think Microsoft knows that. And when then I look at Sony and I'm just sad because like I have no, honestly, but before 10 years ago, I have no issues with Sony. I mean, I had a PS2. I liked Sony in general. I didn't have any issues with them. I didn't have a reason to get their consoles just because I didn't have friends on those consoles. But I didn't hold my Xbox above a PlayStation. Say I don't like you. It's just I'm just looking at them with pity now because they are trying all these tricks. They're trying to turn the favor towards themselves, and all they're doing is either digging their own grave or any sort of thing that it just makes it work worse for them, and that's unfortunate, honestly, because I'm definitely of the opinion that both companies need to thrive for gamers to go above and beyond, because it is about the gamers, it's about the games, it's about the community. If Sony keeps failing, I think it's not just going to be like Xbox is superior thing. It's going to be, what about all this cross-platform stuff? What if that topples down? What if Sony goes so far to say we're going to cut out crossplay again, and then that's going to cause issues with third-party developers, first-party developers? It could potentially destroy a lot of the multiplayer that gamers love between the consoles. Because I mean, let's just say Destiny 2, because that's we were just talking about that. I mean, when they added Destiny 2 multiplayer cross-platform, awesome. That was like, yes, Sony finally got it. They finally did something excellent. We finally can play with our friends. Me and Crusader have a friend on PlayStation. Now we can finally play with them. Doesn't matter what console we're on. Great. I think Sony's undermining that now because they are so desperate to, undermine Microsoft, to, try to take things away from them, but only really hurting themselves, really. And I think the more they do that and the more they hurt themselves, the more it's going to self-destruct and cause a problem for not just PlayStation owners, but for gamers as a whole.
All right. Very good observations and thoughts there. Yeah, I mean, this could be very disruptive. I mean, obviously, Sony's concerned here about losing some pretty big IP going to what Call of Duty, for example, is. I believe somebody was saying it's like there's the second biggest game that they have on their console. So who the heck wants to lose that, right?
First and second.
Ah, there you go. Like Crusader, actually, I'll lead into you here. Like, what's your take on all this? Because I mean, I can understand Sony, commenting. I mean, again, who wants to lose these big, massive franchises like on their console? But at the same time, it's like, well, are they really losing it? Do they really need to be that concerned? Because with some franchises, I could see them losing, but at the same time, I mean, Call of Duty, it's going to make mega bucks regardless, and I can't see Xbox really taking it off. Microsoft loves money. But yeah, what's your take on all this, like all this new news coming out about Xbox firing some shots back?
So just like last week where I said Sony was saying what they were saying, not necessarily because they believe it, but because they have to get stuff on paper so that a certain line in the sand is met so that they don't lose Call of Duty from their platform. This is the same basic thing, except Microsoft's posturing in this case is specifically for this deal to go through, right? So all they did was take Sony's points and retort them and say, like, why none of this is true. And then what I found was hilarious was basically at the end, a chief executive at Microsoft said, and yeah, while we could make all these things exclusive, it wouldn't be a financially reasonable for us. And that makes sense when you look at Call of Duty as a franchise. In 2020, made about a little bit shy of $2 billion in 1 year. That's what Bethesda as a publisher makes in 2 years. Single game, right? When you look at Minecraft and the success they've had with Minecraft makes somewhere between 250 and 500 million USD a year in revenue from all of its sources, whether it be the game itself, realms, merchandising, things like that. And there's a reason why they chose to operate differently with Mojang, why they made that contract differently when they acquired them. And it's because that game it's beyond what, I mean, they could turn it into a system seller, but they'd piss a ton of people off, and otherwise they can just make a complete magnitude more money by having it everywhere. That's why they brought Minecraft to the Nintendo platforms post-acquisition, right? That's why it wasn't on any Nintendo platforms before. They brought it to like the Wii U, they brought it to the 3DS, they brought it to the Switch, right? And they keep doing these things. They brought it to the Apple TV. I'm pretty sure you can get it on Apple OS. You can buy this stupid game. And so when you look at Call of Duty fits that same bill exactly, except instead of Minecraft, where it's like you buy the game once, then maybe you're in for some realms, maybe you're in for some skins, right? They sell it every year. They sell millions of microtransactions a year, and it sells and it sells and it sells. And they want to keep doing that. They want to build up that platform, and they'll integrate the Xbox features into it, just like they did with Minecraft, so that it's Xbox invasive into another system. If you played Minecraft on PlayStation, you sign in with a Microsoft account and you get Xbox achievements. They'll do that with Call of Duty as well. I have no doubt in my mind that they'll do that, and they'll plaster Xbox all over Call of Duty. But it makes so much more financial and PR sense to keep everything with Call of Duty, and maybe even the only other game I can think of that they make that's currently multi-plat that like would maybe fit this bill. In recent years, it hasn't been as good, but would be Overwatch, right? Because that game's going to be... I mean, we already know it's coming to all platforms. We know Overwatch 2 is coming to all platforms. It's linked to Overwatch 1. It's a mess of confusion as to how Overwatch 2 is a separate game from 1, because it really isn't. It's like a co-op. It's like a campaign add-on and like an update to multiplayer that you don't need. But that's the only other game that I could see that fits the same bill. Why? Because the game does something more than the typical games do. The same games that you're going to see, like you'll notice I only am bringing up Call of Duty and maybe Overwatch here, right? Like your Tony Hawk Pro Skaters, they do another one that'll be exclusive to Xbox. Well, maybe not a remaster of 3 and 4, because like Xbox has been finicky with the remasters. Like Quake went to literally everything under the sun 6 months after the Bethesda acquisition. But you know, we get a brand new Spyro game, that's probably going to be exclusive. You get a brand new Crash game, probably going to be exclusive, right? But these games that are themselves a platform, that are kind of like larger than any one concept, that they're these giant multiplayer platforms that are kind of bigger in some ways than any individual console or platform that they're played on. Like games like Fortnite, like Destiny 2, like Minecraft, like Call of Duty. They have a life of their own, and it's not just Microsoft that recognizes this concept, right? Like we aren't just seeing this from Microsoft. We saw the same exact action a month, or not even a month, I think it was a week after the Activision Blizzard acquisition, when Sony bought Bungie and said not only is Destiny this gigantic, massive platform that attracts over 1 million players daily to its system and has a fanatic fan base of at least 2 people in this podcast, right? Like, not only is the future of Destiny confirmed to be multi-platform, Bungie as a whole was stated to be multi-platform for as long as they want to. They will release the games where they want to, right? And they made it clear that they want to release games literally everywhere that they can. I have a feeling we're going to hear that Destiny is going to be coming to like the Epic Game Store and stuff this year at their announcement later in August. And so this isn't an exclusive, like this conversation of, oh, these big money making community platform driven games being multi-platform. This isn't a like, oh, Microsoft's doing this. No, they're both doing it. And when you look at the reasons why, it's clear it's because those games don't serve the same purpose, and they don't want them to serve the same purpose, right? Those games, their raw purpose is to build freaking tons of money, right? To bring in tons of money, to have tons of players. They excel the more players that they have. The more players you have playing together, the better they are for every individual player, and the more odds that those players are happy and spending money, right? Fortnite proved this back in the day when they forced crossplay down Sony's throat. And now Sony's kind of all in on it. You know, they're partnering up with Discord. They're partnering up with they're bringing they agreed to sign an MLB contract where the MLB publishes the game on other platforms, but it's still made. Why? Because MLB The Show as a concept is bigger for Sony to have as a game and a revenue source than it being exclusive is, right? And so this concept of games being bigger than their own platform isn't new. And a lot of people on both sides need to kind of accept that like these games are just going to be everywhere. They're not going to be changed. In fact, I expect that Microsoft's going to use a modified version of its cloud tech to bring Call of Duty to the Switch. It just makes sense. You sell it to another audience of 100 million, right? And people will buy it, and they'll come and they'll play it there. And so, you know, Microsoft made great arguments about how like Sony does all this stuff with exclusivity and how, you know, they tangle their own words and stuff like that. And they made great arguments against every point Sony made, and then they ended it with the triumphant, and it doesn't even matter. Why doesn't it matter? Because the game that they're worried about, we're not planning to do that. And you can see evidence of not just them doing that in their past with Mojang. You can see evidence of Sony themselves also recognizing this concept, that they have also done the same core concept of there are certain franchises, certain games, certain ways games are made to be enjoyed that are bigger than an individual platform. And that's going to be the future of Call of Duty. And it was great that they called them out, and I just found it really funny that they were like, and this argument is pointless in the first place. That was the best part to me, that a Microsoft executive was like, yeah, this argument is pointless.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's things are getting interesting. Things are getting heated to say the least. You know, the way that the conversations are going right now, especially with again going through these different legal channels and different publishers chiming in. Man, I mean, we'll probably hear some more stuff in the not too distant future. Like, I don't know, I'm pretty confident about this deal going through personally, but probably sooner rather than later. But again, time will tell. You know, I don't have a crystal ball in front of me, but I don't know, I'm not too concerned. It's just interesting hearing all these arguments, especially coming from Sony. Let's see, who can I pick on here? Centurion, I would love to hear you chime in here. I know you got thoughts on this. Please share with us. What do you think about Xbox calling out PlayStation?
About damn time. You know, where do we start in this situation? I've had a few conversations with people that are complete pains in the ass. I've also had conversations with those who I absolutely respect. It's all over the place, that's for sure. But the fundamental thing that I'm taking back from this is everybody tries to say that Sony's not concerned. They are, because Sony has been perpetrating the rules of the sacred plastic garden for years now, creating this barrier of entry for developers, this barrier of entry for consumers, while Microsoft has been very what we call inclusive This is one of the reasons why I enjoy the Microsoft brand, the inclusivity that they try to produce. You know, let's put it this way: Sony is so high and mighty, and the #1 gaming company in the world, but they don't even make their own proverbials for handicapped players. Microsoft does. Nope, Sony leaves it to the third-party guys. That's Sony's history. They leave it to the third-party guys. Their first-party studios, all they do is most of the time create third-person over-the-shoulder experiences that are cinematically driven. And that's been what they have been known for. Everybody wants to bring up Spider-Man exclusivity. Well, it's really interesting that you do bring that up. Let's think about that. That is a franchise that Sony did not create. That was something that was created by Stan Lee, God rest his soul. Totally changed. And guess what? Spider-Man has been around longer than PlayStation. So there's no way that PlayStation created Spider-Man. So that is just an instance of Sony buying something that they didn't create. They just happened to be at the right place at the right time to flip out that price tag, just like Microsoft was with Activision, all because the leadership at Activision decided to bomb the company into the ground, mistreat employees, Bobby Kotick's out of control. Microsoft was in the right place at the right time to make the right offer. So I don't fault any company for being competitive, but I don't like how Sony, let's put it this way. If I was in control of Sony, I would be completely uncomfortable with investing all my money into third-party companies, and the only thing you get is a piece of paper that says, oh, it belongs on your console. But do you get any growth in the company? Do you got developers that are gonna be able to help expand your company? No, you just basically flip a nickel for a game to be some kind of falsehood of exclusivity. And that's pretty much what we all now have with Sony, is they weren't growing their developers. They've made some mediocre purchases, nothing on the scale of Microsoft. Microsoft has been growing its developers. They learned their lesson with Scalebound and how investing too much into a third-party system can bite you in the ass. And now we see Sony that is they're upset over the fact that they now have to change their game plan. The concept that they created of basically pay to play is starting to be broke down because of how inclusive Microsoft is trying to create gaming. Microsoft has broke down many barriers for people, including developers and consumers. Game Pass has been able to get developers games in the limelight, in the spotlight, whatever you want to call it. Let's look at Dusk Falls. Do you really think that game would have been all over social media if it wasn't for Game Pass? Don't get me wrong. It was built by a very great developer. They made a very nice looking product and a very interesting concept of a game. Game Pass really helped highlight that game and get it all over word of mouth on social media. Sony does not want to compete with Game Pass. They have made that very apparent. They don't like the concept of Game Pass. They don't like the concept of putting money in the gamers' pockets. They'd rather keep charging more for their products. They want gaming to be for the elite. They don't care about the person that breaks his back every single day for minimum wage to basically play games. Sony themselves has basically gone out and told gamers to go out and get a second job if you want to play here. That was in the past. And Sony has also done things to me personally. I've had games disappear off of my digital account. My console's been hacked. Let's just say Sony is one of the worst consumer companies I've ever dealt with. And every single time they make more moves of anti-consumerism, I keep moving away from Sony. This is why I prefer Xbox. And it has nothing to do with the games. It all has to do with how the company runs itself, and they actually respect me as a gamer. It also deals with, as Dots mentioned, the community. The community over here is absolutely awesome. Very accepting of anybody who wants to come in and play games. Don't get me wrong. We all have our overexcited fanboys over here on Xbox's side that definitely sometimes give us a bad name. But for the most part, Xbox has really changed the industry when it comes to how gaming should be done. They showed Sony how to do a better job with online multiplayer. Like Xbox Live, yeah, it came out the gate where you had to pay for Xbox Live. Since Xbox Live came out day one, you've had to pay for it over on the PS3. and the PS2, the PS2 you had to buy a proverbial, but on the PS3 it was free, but you could see the differences in the two products. Like it felt like Xbox Live was superior compared to Sony's PlayStation Network because Xbox really put a lot of time and effort into it. That's Microsoft, is they have put a lot of time and effort into the Xbox brand. They've been growing it. Phil Spencer really knocked it out of the park with helping readjust things that were done during the beginning of the Xbox One era. He created Game Pass. They've really been pushing for it. And when you see Sony making these tactics of trying to now once again control gaming through contracts and words of print in them by trying to somehow undermine the concept of Game Pass because they don't want to compete. They don't want their games day and date in any service. They don't want to be able to offer gamers a budget-friendly way of experiencing their products. They want that full $70. We see that right now with what's it called? The Last of Us remake. Sony, in my opinion, is finally getting a taste of their own medicine. They've been touting all this stuff about exclusive this, exclusive that, and then they got to come over and boo-hoo that Microsoft is going to be able to make a purchase that they couldn't. Don't care what you say. They couldn't afford Activision. I'm one of those guys that are just going to flat out and say it. That's one of the things that Sony doesn't like is the size of Microsoft's pocketbook. Microsoft can sit back and play the slow drip game of making money slowly, where Sony needs to be able to make these big bucks very quickly to justify anything. Otherwise, you get chopped. And that's one of the reasons why I'm upset with Sony over Days Gone. That developer got chopped onto a new project because it didn't make them that great big amount of money very quickly.
Right.
And yeah, we could go on all day about really the things that I have never been jaded by Sony. I have always saw through the smoke and mirrors. And it's just really interesting now that people are starting to really see it come out because all these court documents are being leaked. Microsoft is starting to finally speak up. And it's just, I don't understand why Sony is throwing this big fit over a game that is going to remain multi-plat.
Mm-hmm. Well, again, it sells them. I mean, it does a lot of business for them. Again, being the huge property that it is. Plus, they got a little bit of a stake in it, considering the like the marketing rights, DLC packs, and so on. Obviously, the past, I guess they've been doing that with Call of Duty since 2015, if I'm not mistaken.
Right, yeah, and that's one of the things I wanted to ask here in the panel. Could you actually blame the size of Call of Duty's reach because of PlayStation? Did they create the monster that they now see as a big potential that could hurt them in the long run because they no longer are able to put greatness awaits at the end of these trailers? They're no longer able to shoehorn their way into having map packs early or this early or that early. Oh. They no longer have that edge, and it's like they grew Call of Duty into the size that it is.
Remember, Xbox had all of this before Advanced Warfare.
Yes, that's
they had the exact opposite was true with Xbox. The exact same thing was done. Right? The only Call of Duty I played hardcore and can actually remember most of was Modern Warfare 2, and all of the map packs for Modern Warfare 2 came to Xbox first, and all of the marketing for Modern Warfare 2 was for Xbox. So it's not like it's modern Xbox doesn't do most of that stuff. Like the only time you really see like an exclusive game is when Microsoft adds a little money to sweeten a Game Pass deal to that developer. But it's not a requirement to go on Game Pass. They've said that multiple times, and we know it's not true. In fact, we know that going on Game Pass alone isn't, to go on Game Pass, you can also go on other services. Guardians of the Galaxy is in both right now. Huge game. It's in both.
Right. And that's one thing that a lot of people don't know is just because a developer puts their game into Game Pass, Microsoft doesn't word the contract to where, you can't put it anywhere else. Sony would.
And to be fair,
Yeah,
too,
yeah.
a comment
You're
in the chat, Xbox, I don't remember them keeping off, for example, like whole game modes like Sony's
Yes,
done.
that was something that began last generation. That began last generation. You're absolutely right. That entire game mode started to get kept off.
Because I did
I think
not
they
like
did
that.
it was like a month, right? Like there was never the like entire year. That was something that started last generation. And you're right. Xbox doesn't do this in the modern era, which is a very big thing to note. That Centurion is right. That modern Xbox is a very inclusive beast.
Oh yeah, and that's what I wanted to point out, that because
Yeah,
everybody
it's
always
Xbox.
brings up the Xbox 360 Call of Duty shenanigans. Well, hey, ladies and gentlemen, go ask Don Matrick how he's doing, because he's the one that created that system. Oh shit, that's right, he's not here anymore. And Sony should be able to take a little bit of that history right there of, hey, look where it got Don Matrick. Look what it got when he tried forcing people to buy a console with a proverbial in it that nobody really wanted. He should have left it out of the box and as an option for those interested in it. That really worked out for him. And let's just say Don Matrick is now like the Phantom of the Opera in the gaming industry. You don't know where that guy's hiding.
He destroyed Zynga too.
Nope, see, check that out.
Yeah.
He caused their stocks to, like, he was CEO for 2 years. That's where he left. He left before the Xbox One even launched and became the CEO of Zynga, and like then he left when their stock prices like dramatically fell.
That's true. Yeah. It just always annoyed me what happened. Again, I understand again that Microsoft Xbox, they did have certain like 30-day deals and so on for certain DLC. For Call of Duty, but at the same time, very annoying what Sony did, locking out entire modes for a year. That ticked me off, especially with Call of Duty 2019. Really good game. I was hoping, to see that game mode drop sooner rather than later, but like it just really, really annoying stuff.
Was that Spec Ops?
I think it was the Spec Ops
Okay.
mode, yeah. Let's see, who can I pick on here? We got a big list. General MLD, buddy, I know you're waiting to chime in and get your thoughts in, because this is a pretty juicy topic. What are your thoughts on this, man?
Oh yeah, just to cap off the last little point there. Call of Duty got really big on Xbox. If you wanted during the 360 era, that was the home of the first-person shooter. I guess you can say today, it's like Sony's known for their third-person stuff, Xbox is known for the first-person, and Call of Duty, it's essentially coming back home. It's coming full circle. That's where it belongs, and I'm glad it's happening. So, but going back to this whole thing here, the reports about Sony paying blocking rights to Game Pass and all that stuff, as a Game Pass user, that kind of irritates me. Like, for example, like, how many games do we not know of? Like, I think there was reports of Resident Evil Village, but what other games are out there that could have been on Game Pass that are now not, because Sony's doing their little tactics that they've always been doing. Like, that just it seems a little sleazy to me, right up there with like you guys said, denying game modes for a year or charging for crossplay behind the scenes. These court documents are really, really good in that they are really just throwing them out, exposing the company for kind of what they do. You could say it's business is business, but I don't know. It just seems like they're going out of their way to keep others down instead of reinvesting into their own services by comparison. So, but again, we said it before, all pointless complaints because Call of Duty is still multi-platform and they have their own subservice. Nothing is stopping them from putting their own first-party games day one on their subservice. But we all know why they won't do it. They don't want the status quo to change. They want to put as much money. They don't want to put as much money into PlayStation Plus as Xbox does in the Game Pass. They prefer you to spend $70 per game every year, every generation, for all time. That's what they want to do. They don't want to do what Xbox is doing. I don't think they got the money for it. I don't think they want to put up the money for it. They prefer the money up front. That's just what they do. But I can argue, and many argue, that's just not as consumer friendly. I think Xbox is good for being inclusive, giving options. And I think more and more are seeing this very, very big difference, this very wide value perception. But I think it's overall, though, like the fact that they're even complaining at all, knowing that the game is multi-plat, I think it's because they know the COD effect. like having the PlayStation logo on all commercials, the PlayStation exclusive bundle, the PlayStation exclusive beta, or like the beta first on PlayStation, things like that. It gets the gamers flocking to their console. It creates a snowball effect. Friends tell their friends, and going forward, one way or another, it's going to be on Xbox. We're going to see a Series S Call of Duty bundle sometime in the not too distant future. You're going to see Xbox logos plastered next to Call of Duty and Warzone and what have you. If they're smart, they'll give exclusive perks if you're on Xbox or in the Xbox ecosystem. I think that is what they are really concerned about, is the slow erosion of their market share. And now they got to find someone else to money hat going forward, because it can't be Activision Blizzard anymore. They've been tapping that well for years. And now they got to start looking out for someone else now. Maybe they're going to have their sights set on the Grand Theft Auto franchise now. Who knows? But it can't be Call of Duty, that's for sure. Can't be Bethesda anymore, that's for sure there too. So it is a little amusing that Xbox, they're seeing where Sony is putting their money. Like, with Deathloop and Ghostwire Tokyo, like those being the last contracts from Bethesda, but they can't do that anymore. Xbox, they keep buying out the companies themselves, as Sony is money hatting. And I'm curious to see where Sony's money now goes next. And let's see if Xbox has an eye on them too in the future going forward. We'll see. But overall, I think we all said it before. Xbox, they conflicted Sony's points, point for point, proved them all wrong, all meaningless. In the end of the day, Sony has to suck it up. Tough luck. Compete. You've been doing this for years, and now Xbox has finally got the weight of Microsoft behind them. Suck it up. Compete. Do your thing. So that's my message.
Yeah, and I would say MLD too. It's just the ever evolving situation going on in the industry, right? It's not so much, I mean, all these different companies, publishers, obviously they go get content, get third-party content, and so on. But the structures now, it's not the same as it was back in the 360 era. Now it's going towards subscription services and other goodies added in there. And then when you see like these whole like these games, certain games getting I guess you almost want to say money hatted for like, and we don't know when they're coming to certain systems. There's like a vagueness to them, that just really sucks, right? So
100%. So
MLD said something that I completely forgot about, and that was the paying to keep stuff off Game Pass. I'm mad, and I understand why. I'm mad that the transcripts were so redacted from the Brazilian legal offices. I mean, they have to be, because they have actual details of actual non-public contracts. But like, I want to know, in regards to the keeping stuff off of Game Pass, if that extends past like a marketing agreement, because that makes sense to have that kind of clause in a marketing agreement, because you'd be paying all that money for marketing, and then you're just going to another company and they're going to be doing marketing for you too. Like that's not how a marketing agreement between two companies is ever going to work.
Yeah, like Battlefront 2, it was since you had EA Play, Xbox owners would be able to, or Game Pass subscribers would get to play that first 10 hours before, because that's at that time where EA Play or whatever wasn't on Sony. So even though Sony had the marketing rights, Xbox players were playing it 10 hours, or 10 hours and playing it like I think a week.
Yeah, that's why they have those contracts in place, right? That's exactly why those contracts are in place. And yeah, so like it makes sense that I know it annoys people that like those terms were in the Resident Evil 8 contract, but that's why Sony was using its marketing space, like space slots on there that they could sell to other people, slots on their like console UI home screen where they have the ads. They were selling the space that they have on their social medias to market, because like that is worth money, right? Like not any game just gets put up in there. It costs those companies something to put stuff up in there, and they want to make sure that they're not getting screwed over by marketing a game that like isn't going to give them the return on what they're putting in. right? And I think in this day and age, it's almost stupid to create these weird marketing deals outside of like the E3 showcases because, like we've been saying, we're moving to this like all digital, all streaming service kind of era, and like it's kind of like almost getting to be like a bygone effort in some cases. And where and your money could be spent a lot better. But like if they're spending the money there, it makes sense that they're protecting that investment with those terms. I'm interested to know if they have made any if they've signed any agreements that are specifically like, hey, you can't go on Game Pass. And that's the agreement, right? Because we don't know about anything about it like that. We don't know if they've done anything like that. And Microsoft's wording hinted that they did, but everything's so redacted that like I can't definitively say. So I'm not going to go out and say Microsoft that Sony's like just paid to keep games off of Game Pass, and that's like all they did, right? Because at this point, the only one that we as the public are aware of is the Resident Evil 8 one, and that was part of a marketing deal, which makes sense that they had that clause in there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, interesting takes, guys. Shockley, buddy, I would love to know what your thoughts are. Do you agree with what everybody else is saying about, with regards to Xbox calling out PlayStation? Or, do you have some other thoughts that, you could expand on? Please share with us.
Yeah, for the most part, I think. But yeah, I mean, Sony's only saying this now. Like, obviously, they were kind of like worried when the first announcement of the buying Activision or the offer was going out, because they were like, yeah, we're hopeful that they honor these deals that we have in place, or keep some of those franchises that are known to be on our platform, because they know if somehow Microsoft got this deal through and got, say, Call of Duty straight, say for example, straight exclusive, like we think Elder Scrolls will be, that's a huge move. That would, not to say like, Sony would be shaking in their boots, but I'm just like, that's a big chunk of their revenue when their first party games, in between their first party game releases, or if they have a, not so much going on. Like last year, they had a game that they foot the bill for with Returnal and Ratchet and Clank. So that was pretty much what they're bringing in first party wise. So someone taking Call of Duty away from them, that would be pretty big to their like revenue stream, and that would probably move a lot of the casual market. If you couldn't get it on PlayStation, well, that's a huge amount of the casuals that might play Call of Duty and then, jump on Madden or things like that, and spend money in the, ecosystem, in between when they just want to break from a Call of Duty game. But yeah, this recent release that we got from Brazil, since they're very open with their, I guess their statements or their whatever they have to, their whole review process. And that's why we're kind of hearing, because we weren't really hearing this, like the inside of this, of what was going on when they were doing all these, reviews or regulation reviews in all these other countries. But I guess with Brazil, it's pretty open. And Sony, I mean, it's funny, they're both exaggerating on both ends. Like, so Sony's saying, oh my God, this would be, terrible and it's not fair. And then on this other side, you have Xbox saying, oh yeah, all these games are on Activision. They're nothing special. It's like, Sony has their special games. There's, this is no different. So, so they're both just kind of pleading their case. Cause if Sony, even though Sony knows that Microsoft's, I guess, honoring the deal, or they've had talks with Phil or whatever, they still don't want the deal to go through, because who knows, what could happen in the future. So if they could just like, hey, sway the regulators to not put the deal through, then they're like, cool, we don't even have to sweat it in the future. So that's kind of where that whole side's coming from. But the whole deal, they both keep, I mean, so far lately, Xbox hasn't done like some of the like deals that are kind of grimy in a sense, like those Destiny deals where it's like, hey, you get this content in a year, and then they extend it. Oh, and then yeah, if you want this content, well, you're gonna have to go back to Destiny 1 to get it, after
Still
Destiny
don't
2's
have
been out a
Jade
year.
Rabbit in D1.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, I'm gonna jump back to Destiny 1 after Destiny 2's been out a year just so I can enjoy this gun I never got to play with. That's not gonna happen, and that's different because that's people. I'm giving the same amount of money as PlayStation gamers are giving, but I'm getting less content, and some of those. It would be one thing if it was just some of those weapons, but some of the weapons in there were like some of the top tier like freaking weapons in the whole thing, and then you're also missing out on like other strikes, things like that. If it was just like some extra, like, hey, you got the skin or something, but they had some like exotics that were, lights out. They were nerfed by the time the cool factor was nerfed by the time they even reached Xbox players. So that's the part where I have an issue with whenever some of those deals go down, and it's the same consumer. I'm giving you my $60, they're giving you their $60, but I'm getting less content for it. It's one thing if it's a year exclusive, I'm not giving my money away. It's not coming to me, so then either I bought it on PlayStation or it didn't. I'm not getting screwed out of my money. So it's a little bit different. So obviously Microsoft hasn't done like those deals in a way. I know people think the whole buying Bethesda is that, but that's them investing. Who knows if all of those studios would still be making games? They may have we've seen that with publishers consolidate. Hell, you saw Activision, everybody like, hey, that Tony Hawk remake was really cool. Yeah, scrap that. We're gonna start making Call of Duty with all the other all the other studios that we have. So you never know what's going to happen. They could consolidate, even when a studio's successful, like Visceral with Dead Space. Nope. So who knows what a publisher's going to do, especially if they're, especially with Bethesda, it seems like they've kind of slowed down in the past from what they were doing at the beginning of the, 10 years ago. So then Sony or Xbox coming along and investing, that's giving more life to probably newer projects that probably weren't going to make it. Stuff like when you see with Obsidian with like Grounded, that some people are going to enjoy that game, probably wasn't going to happen. But if Obsidian didn't get an investor, basically fully bought out from Microsoft. So some of those deals are different. So I get what Sony's doing because they don't have maybe the cachet to or feel comfortable spending the money, because it'd be a bigger chunk of their revenue to buy out a whole Square Enix or, a publisher like that. So doing these deals is kind of their way to, that's what they've been doing since the PS2. Like a lot of those were, year exclusive, Grand Theft Auto. So, this is kind of their MO. I think Microsoft kind of like copied some of that in the 360 days when they were up, on top, and they're like, well, this kind of the deals that get made, so we're gonna fight back with our money as well. But lately they've kind of seen the light of like, hey, it's actually going to work better for us. Instead of us trying to hold their players back, we're going to invest and buy the publishers that we need, and then make kind of chop up the barriers to where we're going to broaden our base. Kind of like what I say with this whole Square Enix stuff about them doing the whole, hey, we're not going to bring Final Fantasy VII, probably one of the biggest freaking IPs in all of gaming. Whereas you have Bandai Namco bringing Persona to everyone. That's how you grow. That's gotten more mainstream lately. That's how you jump on the bandwagon and grow it. So hopefully it gets even more mainstream than what it's become. So that's my 2 cents. I'll take a break there. But yeah.
Today on Shockley's Soapbox. No, man. No,
No,
I totally get what you're saying. No, interesting takes all around. Anyone else have anything to add before we move on here? Yes, no?
I wanted to touch one thing that Centurion said about how Sony's really pushing for those, big cash grabs all at once. It obviously we don't, like Crusader said though, we don't have all the details on these blocking fees, but it almost seems the opposite of these big crash grabs. The fact that these blocking fees, if they are hitting smaller, even like third-party games or second party games, obviously the big first party games as well. But if it is hitting those lower branches on the tree, that's not big cash grabs. That's desperate grabs at a little bit. That's little, chunks of change out of people, which for them is, small, gold doubloons from each person. Obviously, for the smaller companies, that could possibly be a big chunk that's saying, all right, you want to go on Game Pass? Well, you're going to have to pay up, and that's money that you needed to save for continuing to develop your game, your first patches, paying your people, or your small 5-person group, then that you need that to progress the game. And now Sony is like saying, well, we don't know if your game's going to be successful or not, but we're going to take a chunk out if you want to go on Game Pass, because we want to make sure that we get something out of it. That's not a big cash grab. Once again, we don't know if that's a factual thing or not, but it goes to what Centurion said on that, and just the fact that these smaller devs are in danger to some big marketing strategy like that, because that hurts. It really does hurt.
I have to agree with Dots, because let's also point out, because of what was going on between Apple and Epic, the Bethesda purchase, the Bungie buyout, and now the Activision thing, out of all the stuff that's been going on with the FTC lately, one of the things that did come out is that it was caught that Sony was charging what they called the crossplay tax. If you wanted your game to be crossplay, they had a fee for that. And I really do like how you put it that way. For some reason, Sony wants those big cash grabs, but also they're like literally trying to nickel and dime everything they can.
All right. Some interesting thoughts here. Again, all these publishers, to be fair, they all have their own they all do different kind of exclusivity deals and whatnot. They're all guilty in the past of something. But I don't know. I kind of like Xbox's path personally, how they're taking things, and it's interesting to see how the other publishers are reacting again to still the mega deal that was announced in January of Xbox purchasing Activision Blizzard King. It's gonna, again, when this deal finishes, it's gonna send shockwaves throughout the industry, and yeah, I don't know. I'll just be curious to see how they all react when it's all signed, sealed, and official. But okay, guys, all right. Guys in the chat, I hope you're enjoying our discussion. And if you are, please, hey, give this video a thumbing, and hey, share it out. Let everybody know that we are live, because we're having a pretty awesome conversation, if I do say so myself. All right. Okay, why don't we move on to the next bit of news? And earlier this week, Microsoft and Unity Software announced a partnership between the two. Unity has selected Microsoft Azure as its cloud partner to create and power real-time 3D experiences utilizing the power of Azure Cloud. Now, Crusader, my friend, I'll pick your brain first on this one. What's the overall significance of this pairing between the two? Is there any significance? Because, you see key Xbox personnel such as Sarah Bond being, very excited about this partnership.
Yeah, so this is similar to that Sega partnership from a few months ago. I think that was a few months ago, where Sega was saying that they were going to come work with Azure Cloud and to develop new tech and stuff. That's the same thing that's happening here with the Unity. Now, this is a very mixed bag, because Unity is in a very weird state in the gaming sphere right now. They have a lot of very powerful technology under their belt. Their engine is probably one of the easiest for any beginner to come in and learn how to make a game. I've made a few games in it in college for game jams as part of our computer science club and stuff way back when. And but Unity is in a little bit of hot water right now, because they were teaming up with or they're planning to merge with a company called Centurion. Is it Iron Source?
It's Iron Source, yeah.
Yeah.
I was about to say that, yep.
Yeah, and Iron Source was at one point, I don't know if they are anymore, but at one point they were blacklisted from operating on Microsoft stuff because of malware distribution through ads that they kind of did, like, it wasn't like their company doing it, but it was the ads that they were like hosting through their stuff that had malware in them, like the kind of ads you see on adult sites, where like a billion pop-ups happen and suddenly your computer's infected. That was the kind of ads that this company was kind of doing, and it's not great. And Unity is currently set to merge with them, but like it gets even weirder because there's another mobile company who has come out and offered a larger deal. Because right now it's technically like Unity's shopping around period. So like if they were to cancel uh, the proposed merger, they wouldn't have to pay a penalty because right now other companies have the right to come in and also bid and try to merger. We saw this happen with Codemasters when they were supposed to be bought by 2K, but EA came in with a better deal and ended up buying Codemasters. So we may see them merge with another company, but this is just a very interesting scenario. And all it means is that most likely for Xbox gamers or gamers in general, Xbox studios or like parties that are like external studios that like people refer to as second party when they're publishing. Microsoft and Sony don't use that internally, so I try not to use that. They're first party too. Like the game is first party, the studio is third party. No one internally at any publishing company calls them second party. There's a great thread from Insomniac about that. And it means that they might be using Unity more if they want to, right? Unreal's great. There's a lot of really cool things that you can do with Unreal. Like we've seen the stuff from those tech demos that you can do with Epic's Unreal, right? Looks awesome. But in my opinion, the best looking game of all time, love the game. It's in my top 10. It's the genre that doesn't drive as much with me, is Ori and the Will of the Wisps. Ori and the Will of the Wisps is a gorgeous game. You know what engine that's made in?
Unity.
It's made in Unity. Unity is a very powerful tool in the hands of the correct people. Now, it's easier to learn, but it is harder to get to that point than Unreal. Whereas Unreal is harder to learn. It is more complicated. But it is easier to master and to do incredible looking things with. So it'll be very interesting to see exactly what happens with Unreal. Likely this is going to help people. They're going to come in and they're going to optimize a version of the engine that runs better on Azure servers or is more optimized to run on an Xbox Blade in the cloud so that the game latency doesn't matter as much and things like that. And they can overcome things like we're talking about like solutions kind of like Project Orion and stuff like that like we could see some cross integration. We could see just like games performing better in cloud services in general and things like that. So like this is a very, very, very cool technology thing. And like Unity also has some very cool, it's a partnership that could grow because all partnerships can grow, right? Like I'm like there's not going to be an acquisition or anything like that, but Unity owns Peter Jackson's VFX company from that he founded with like the Lord of the Rings days when he made the greatest film trilogy of all time. And I'll die on that hill. People can fight me.
My Clerics, there's only one trilogy is oozing out right now, but I'll stay quiet.
Oh yeah, no, second trilogy.
We know the reference.
It's okay, but it's not cinema masterpiece. But they own that VFX company, and that's something that Microsoft could be like, hey, we want to use that VFX company because we got a really cool idea for some like really cool thing in a game. Because we're seeing like Unreal Engine and stuff leak into film, and we're also seeing film stuff leak into gaming with like Ember Labs. The Ember Labs devs, before they were game developers, were visual effects artists for like Pixar style stuff, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
And look at what they made, right? Look at what that tiny studio made. Kenna Bridge of Spirits, gorgeous game. You know what I mean? Gorgeous. And you got a partnership with Microsoft and Unity. Well, you can see that stuff with Peter Jackson's VFX studio because partnerships grow, right? And people, whenever you see technology company collaborating with another technology company, you should be excited for the future of what them sharing technologies can hold, even if it's not stipulated in that deal. And that goes for any company working with any company, right? Sony investing into Epic, fantastic. Why it's going to grow Epic? Because they're not buying Epic. They don't have the capital to buy Epic. They don't even own more than like 3% of Epic. They don't have a control, like they don't have any control over the company, but they're investing in it. And guess what? Unreal Engine's going to be better for it, right? So any kind of these partnerships, I love to see them.
Mm-hmm. Yep, you are correct on that. And just to add on, like that buyout proposal, it's from the corporation's called AppLovin. I guess they're another.
That's it.
They're another again another like software entity. I guess they focus more on like some mobile games, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, they're a mobile game, and I believe they do mobile ads, just kind of like Iron Source does. But they're a bigger company, and they offered more money in their merger. They offered a better merger terms than Unity had before. So I actually expect Unity to cancel their merger with
I'll be curious.
Iron, whatever.
I'll be curious because I don't think Unity is really all that interested from what I was reading. So
shareholders are what matter.
No, of course, and shareholders are what matter, yeah.
CEO.
But I'm just curious because again, it's almost like a hostile takeover. So
yeah,
and then it kind of screws. Like I don't know, it's just gonna be interesting because I think it cancels out that buyout from Unity of Iron Source as well. So
well, yeah, they're both mergers, if I'm not mistaken. Like they're merging they're not like it's not like one company's buying another. They're merging. There's terms where each of them get certain aspects of like how much of the board they control and who appoints the board and stuff like that. Like this isn't your typical like of M&A. This isn't the A portion like Microsoft is acquiring Activision Blizzard. This is two companies merging to form another brand new company like Discovery and Times Warner just did.
Right. No, that's a good comparison. Dots, I would love to hear your thoughts on this. I mean, Microsoft Unity sounds pretty cool that they're working together. Well, I don't know. What's your take on this? Do you agree with what Crusader's saying? Please give us your thoughts.
Me agree with Crusader? I wouldn't. No, not to speak the taboo, but oh my God, Unity on Game Pass. No, to give my honest thought on that, I think a partnership like that would be strong. Really, honestly, segueing from the last conversation, of an actual true love with third-party developers, and the complete opposite of what Sony's doing, like giving them if say for example they put it on Game Pass, I'm sure there would be more stipulations. It would not just be included. But I mean, hell, I could be wrong. But like, imagine that expanse of creativity and people who can not only get Unity from either just Xbox in general or Game Pass or in general, whatever, but be able to stream it through their.
Unity's a game engine, not a game.
I know. So
okay, it wouldn't go on Game Pass.
No, well, it would go on a pass. I don't know. Like they could add it in like Netflix or something. I don't know. But like just the idea that if Xbox, if Microsoft has, that connection with them, really expanding the third-party platform for Microsoft and, the support for them, it would be great. Like I said, just the complete opposite of Sony, giving that support, giving that love to these people. And, Crusader gave, Ori and Will-O-Wisp. I had Ori and the Blind Forest on my list, but, Pokemon Go, people are still causing car accidents with it. Cuphead, they have a TV show about it now. Fall Guys, my friend group in Crusader, go nuts over playing that game. Hollow Knight, people are still frothing over from the mouth when they hear about Silk Song. Escape from Tarkov, I hear a lot of people enjoy that game. Among Us is literally one of the biggest memes in existence, and I still hear 5-year-olds talk about it to this day. To much, my spine shivering every time I hear it. And even personally for me, V Rising, I play that with my girlfriend and some of my friend group. Fantastic game, early access. Give it a try. Honestly, it's fantastic. But no, I think that giving partnering with Microsoft and giving more people those tools through the Azure cloud service would be awesome. And I think that would put Microsoft in an even stronger third-party position than it already currently is. And I was also going to say, Unity's also still been busy because I saw on Thursday they were also making deals with the U.S. Military Defense Forces about some defense simulation programs, game-like functionalities, and so Unity is. It's not just with Microsoft. They're popping off some deals recently, and it's not going to stop. So I think Unity's up for some big changes, some big plans. Microsoft as a partner would be fantastic, and I guess the U.S. military as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just to add to that too. I mean, you're right. They did it just made a 3-year multi-million-dollar contract for digital simulation technology. So, video game simulation, I suppose, which is pretty big. They also have Mercedes-Benz chose them for their infotainment system. So pretty big brand there. And they want to expand further into China, from what I'm to understand as well. So they got a lot of plans. I know that in recent months they haven't been doing so well, but they got some pretty big announcements within the past month or so. So things. I mean, I would say it's looking up, but then again, you got this company kind of wanting to acquire them. We'll see what happens there. General MLD buddy, I'll hit you up next on this. I don't know, what do you think about Unity and Microsoft making an official partnership here? Because it could make for other like developers. Let the Unity engine is used by a lot of big name games have come out, even indie games, especially. Look at Tunic, I think, for example, recently used it. I don't know, what's your take on this? Do you think it's a big plus for Microsoft?
I think it's obviously it's a good play. It's good news, and I think we'll see the benefits not in the short term, but as the years go on. I'd say. I think it's just the idea of Microsoft having a lot of hands and a lot of different cookie jars at the same time. Like the more the better. Like they got the thing with Sega with that. They got the Coalition, which is working with Epic Games on optimizing like Unreal Engine, like all the games they've been doing lately, the collaborations. Then you got now you got Unity. Like, hey, more the merrier. Azure fees that they're going to be paying Microsoft, that is just going to print money year after year. It's the easiest money they're going to make, essentially. And this will be essentially used to, I would think, to reinvest more into other things, like, hey, more gaming acquisitions. Whatever profit they make from this, they'll funnel it right back into their investments, right back into gaming, or at least, I hope so, at least in part. So, yeah. Nothing but good news on this end, because Unity is obviously very popular, and the cozier they get, the better deals they can make in the future. Like as long as it's mutually beneficial, like I scratch my back, sorry, you scratch my back, I scratch yours, that kind of thing. If they save a little bit of money on this, hey, who knows what collaborations or deals they can make in the future. So in the end, it's good. It's good.
Yeah, and again, just looking at the games list in recent years, what use Unity, Cuphead, which, hey, I love Cuphead, a very visually striking game, very fun, very frustrating too, but fun.
You got past the tutorial level, right?
You know what?
Oh, I think I don't know that video you're talking about.
I don't know, man.
Takashi.
I had to use this. I had to look that up on YouTube. Get somebody's strategies. A quick guide. It was very tough for me. What can I say? What else do we got here? Super Lucky's Tale, Tannenberg,
Fall Guys,
Ukulele.
Oh yeah, like I had no idea so many games were made with this stuff. Like until like this news broke.
It's
crazy.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, no, I was just saying Overcooked, Pillars of Eternity, Subnautica, Wasteland 3. Oh yeah, even again a bunch of first-party studios. 3. Yeah.
Huh.
Mm-hmm. Death's Door was right. That was a game that won a few Game of the Year awards last year and was talked very highly of. Right. You had Inscription. Inscription was a huge. I mean, they're indie games, sure, but these are big, good games.
Yes.
Like, yeah, great. You're not getting the AAA gigantic games with this, right? That's not everything that gaming is. I'm sorry, I never will be. Right? There are plenty of great minor games. One of the biggest games the last week that people won't stop talking about, Cult of the Lamb. That's not a Unity game, right? But like that game is getting more coverage than some AAA games do, you know? It maddens me when people are like Unity is only for indie trash, and I'm like, well, indie. I joke with my one friend that that indies are trash. I love indies. I play a lot of them. You know, and like there's tons of good games that come out with Unity. Another big one that's coming out this year that I know a couple people on this panel are excited for is Pathfinder: Wrath of the Righteous.
All right.
The Pathfinder RPG. It's already out in PC. You know that was made in it. A lot of remasters are done it because it's pretty easy. If it's a very old game and you know what the game is supposed to do and stuff, it's pretty easy to recreate older games in Unity. Right, a lot of fan projects. You'll see a lot of fan remakes are done in Unity. Why? Because it's really easy. The Shin Megami Tensei 3, whatever the name, there's like 3 more words in the name. Of the Shin Megami Tensei 3 remaster, that was done in Unity. The new Pokemon, the remakes of Diamond and Pearl, Unity, right? And so Unity is a powerful tool if you use it for the right things. Yeah, it's probably not for large AAA games. Doesn't matter. It's for you can make good games in it. There's plenty of good games made.
And you know what's great about that is when you hear about these third-party games, whether they're made through Unity or otherwise, you're not hearing about delays or pushbacks or anything, unlike these AAA first-party games. So you keep that in mind.
Except for Hollow Knight.
Yes.
Silk Song doesn't exist. We saw it this year, and I still don't believe it exists.
Damn. Well, even again, we had the director of 12 Minutes on there. His game is it was done on Unity as well. Lots of games, big and small, being done on Unity. So I mean, like you were saying, Crusader, the engine's not for everyone, but it's very useful for developers. Well, at least in the beginning stage, anyways. It's an easier one to start making games on. So I don't know. It seems like it has a lot of broader appeal, anyways. Let's see here. Who else do I got? Shockley, buddy. I mean, I would love to know your thoughts too on this. What do you think about Xbox getting involved with, or I should say, Microsoft getting involved in this partnership with Unity? Do you think it's a good thing about them being able to use the Azure to again let developers use the tools, the kits that Unity provides?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's good. It's going to be just giving more money into their or just more stronger with their Azure as far as like the people that support it. So again, that's just going to help their overall gaming and just as a base in their whole initiative with this whole cloud streaming. If they have more and more people jumping on board, it's just going to help the cloud gaming aspect of it. And so yeah, I mean, it's definitely beneficial to what they're doing. So it sounds like they'll have everybody on board, Sony, Sega. Pretty much if it's gaming and you need cloud, Azure's pretty much the go-to. So but yeah, it's definitely in that aspect, it's good for Xbox gamers because we're probably going to see some benefit from it, from Azure being so strong and Microsoft really investing in cloud. So, but yeah, I didn't read up too much on it, but any more support towards their whole cloud initiative over another, that's just going to put more money and more development in that area.
All right. Yeah, no, that's some good thoughts there, Shockley. Yeah, no, it's certainly good for developers, big and small, to leverage that. And just overall a good thing for Xbox to push there with Unity. Centurion, what's your take on this? Do you agree with what all the other guys on the panel are saying, or do you have any other thoughts to add to this?
I've agreed with everybody here. General MLD probably had the most positive things that I off top of my head by saying that this is going to be some money that Microsoft will be able to invest back into their own ecosystem. But if Microsoft could be listening right now, I would say tread carefully. As Crusader pointed out, they are going to be merging with Iron Source. They no longer develop malware, so they say, because malware was actually their first actual developed software that Iron Source came out with. And I don't know if it was Iron Source or somebody at Unity that talked to GameIndustry.biz that pointed out that these were some bad apples that were at the company that didn't fit the company's values, that tried to take advantage of the PC platform.
Mm-hmm.
And the software hasn't been in development for years now. But let's talk about John Riccatello or whatever his name is. Excuse my French, but this is the guy that called any game developer that doesn't monetize their game to the point where it turns into an absolute nasty grind fest, a fucking idiot, quote unquote. He used the F word. This is probably considered the hot take of 2022, and it will probably remain that way. We got to remember John Riccatello is one of the individuals that came from the era of EA games, of where first player games are dead. Nobody wants to play them. They have no place in the gaming industry anymore. We all saw how that worked out for EA. He wasn't the one who made that comment, but he comes from the same group of executives that cooked up that concept. John Riccatello has done a lot of damage to the Unity name and brand because of his comments. A lot of independent developers that make really great games that everybody here has mentioned. A lot of these independent developers have decided to move on from the Unity engine. But that's because Unity has decided to show that they are not interested in growing smaller developers. One developer put it out that they're trying to become the next unicorn of Silicon Valley. Basically, they're trying to chase bigger ambitions, more money. And a lot of the moves that they have made recently, especially with the Unity engine and acquiring Iron Source, have really pushed a lot of independent developers away. And now that a lot of things that go under the radar is everybody knows how great the Unity engine is and how it can be so easy to work with. But there's also something in the engine called Unity Ads. If you're familiar with being on Google, we know Google is one of the greatest search engines in the world right now. And if you're part of the YouTube community, or you own your own business, or you do stuff online, you know that Google also has the Google ad system, a way of actually creating monetization through searching and other means. And this is something that was done also in the Unity engine. There is a complete separate side of the software for developers to basically, as John Riccatello says it, be able to implement monetization as early as possible into a game. So that's why they've made leaps and bounds in mobile gaming, because we all know what it's like to be playing a mobile game and have an advertisement pop up or something of, hey, buy more gems here for this. That's built into the Unity engine now. And so that's where I say to Microsoft, tread lightly, because I know that they're wanting to support gaming developers, but they also need to realize that Unity isn't exactly there for the gaming developer. They're there for the almighty dollar at the end of the day. And that's where I'm going to be very curious on how long this partnership is going to last, or really what Microsoft plans to gain from it. I really feel that if anybody has to gain from this partnership, it's Unity, and that is to try to reverse some of the damage that they have done to themselves with the things they've said and the things they've done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, you bring up a great point. Obviously, his comments were, they were a bit of a PR nightmare at the time. I know he made some comments after the fact saying, oh, they were taken out of context. I don't know how much you can take them out of context, but maybe he misworded them. I don't know.
His rebuttals on social media, I guarantee he did not create those rebuttals. That was him crying to his law team, I messed up. And they wrote him a letter of what to say on social media. His apologies were completely one of the most scripted things you could ever read.
Right, yeah, and it's easy to tell that. Honestly, I'm a big fan of Unity, despite all the points that you guys brought up. Obviously, malware not good, but hopefully it was just by again a couple of bad apples. And there's been a few things said that haven't been good, obviously, but I still think for myself that Unity's engine itself is still very useful, very popular. Well, I think it can be an even more popular engine given the support, and I'm just kind of curious to see how it turns out. Obviously, they're making strides with other ventures, but I don't know. As it stands now, I think Unity's in a place where they can go upwards, but that's just me. I don't know. What do you guys in the chat think? Do you think Unity can turn it around, especially with all these partnerships? Let us know. Okay, and you know what, guy?
I have one thing.
Yeah, go for it.
I had to think too. You go first, Crusader.
No, go for it.
I was going to reference something that Dot said, that he said very well, and it was that when he switched from Game Pass to Azure, it sparked a point in my mind that during COVID, what happened? What happened to developers during COVID? Besides all their games got delayed. Why did they all get delayed? This is me asking the panel.
Well, they were all working from home.
Right.
Yeah, lack of communication.
And why did working from home hit them so hard? What's the biggest reason that it hit them so hard?
Well,
all their tools are at their offices.
Yeah.
There you go. So if Unity is on an Azure server and they can develop instead of having to be at a set workspace, they can do all of their work from an Azure server and basically log into it from any computer. That's huge, right? And that's something we could even see Epic come and partner with them with, or maybe Epic will go to Amazon, right? It's all.
Well, Epic's pretty close to Sony right now.
Well, Sony doesn't have a cloud infrastructure, right? There's 3 companies with a global cloud infrastructure that can facilitate people. AWS is Amazon, Azure from Microsoft, and I don't remember what Google's cloud services are called, but Google has them. Might just be Google Cloud Services.
Yeah, I think so.
So those are the 3 companies that if you really want a large-scale global deployment of Cloud Blades, those are the companies you're going to. But PlayStation went to AWS for PS Now, now PS Plus Premium. So Unity partnering with Azure. I'm thinking they're going to be implementing things into Unity and stuff. Maybe this is this partnership could be, hey, you can rent for super cheap Azure workstations essentially for Unity development, right? And that solves a problem that the industry has right now where, a pandemic destroyed the industry for months and months and months, and we're still feeling it. We're going to feel it the whole way through this generation, right? Because we're going to feel game shortages in weird bunches because of the peaks and falls of the pandemic and how that delayed even the start of development for games, right? So how do we solve that? How do we make it so that, it's probably it could happen again, but how do we lessen the impact should something like this happen again? Anywhere, or something similar that causes developers to not be able to go into their building, say, God forbid, an earthquake strikes and now developers can't, their building's gone, right? Azure or AWS and having the game development set up there. And I think that might actually be what this partnership is. And if that's the case, that's big.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I agree with you. I could certainly see the forward-thinking approach there, if that is the case with Microsoft and Unity. Sorry, Dots, go ahead. I believe you had something to say.
well, other than I think Crusader is sponsored by Azure after that little conversation. Just a funny point off of Centurion when he because I was actually very much unaware of how deep Unity's monetization thing was. So I'm just imagining now with Unity making this deal with our U.S. military defenses, and now they're getting a pop up of $15 to fire a Tomahawk missile, and so I just have that image in my head now.
$15. You might want to have a couple zeros on it for
Oh
that.
no,
environment.
15 to fire it. You still have to grind for one. Like there's still a lot of build up to get one, and then it's $15 with an ad pop up to actually fire the damn thing.
Yeah, I see him be more dirty about like, I gotta call my wife in the States for 5 more minutes. Please deposit $2. Really? Never mind. It was over my head.
We have fun here. We have fun here, right, guys?
What is fun? What is this fun you speak of? Correct. No, we have lots of fun. We have lots of fun. Any other comments, guys, before we move on? Yes, no? Okay, I'll take that as moving on. Okay, on to the final topic for tonight, and it looks like a new version of the Elite 2 controller has leaked. With I don't know, we've seen a few images pop up as back in March they first appeared. But these new ones, well, I mean, it's getting hard to really deny it. There's a few things popping up on Twitter recently. And yeah, as of right now, it just appears to be a white version of the Elite 2 controller. Shockley, buddy, I'll pick on you for this one. We've seen images and even unboxings for this sucker already. Like, what do you think that this is legitimate? And if so, I don't know, do you think that we'll get an official announcement soon for it? I mean, Gamescom is kind of rolling along here. I don't know. What do you think? I don't. Shockley, are you muted? Well, Shockley could be away. Tell you what, I'll pick on you, Centurion. I'm sure you heard my spiel there. What do you think about, again, all these images popping up here for the Elite 2 controller and the white version? Again, we've seen some unboxings already, and it's not technically official yet, but do you see something popping up soon?
Probably more than likely. I'm more wondering where they got the controller to have the unboxing. Was it really given out? And by some chance, they're just wanting, like, is Microsoft testing the waters to see the hype for a white Elite controller? But for me, it also goes back to remember when the Xbox Series X was getting ready to come out in November. And in July, during a lot of the unrest that was here in the United States, there was a lot of rioting, and a Best Buy and a couple of electronic stores in the United States were broken into, and certain individuals were actually able to get their hands on products that hadn't been released yet that were actually just being held in lockers at some of those electronic stores. And that's when we started seeing like redesigned Xbox controllers with the share button on them pop up before they were even officially released. So that's where it's like and I'm just being frank, because of the world I work in and in distribution. Yeah, employees do smuggle things out of facilities or off of the docks where things are being loaded. And you never know. The person who's showing these things off on YouTube is not supposed to have it. But now to the big question, when is Microsoft going to come out and actually officially talk about these white controllers? Let's just put it this way, man. Microsoft, Xbox, they make a lot of controllers. So at this point, I'm not like, oh my God, a white Elite controller. And the last white Xbox controller I had completely was always like dirty and smudgy looking. And I like my controllers to not show that kind of wear and tear. So I love dark colored controllers. And
right,
that's where I'm going to just say it's definitely not for me. I have an Elite 2. I love my Elite 2. I baby it. I put it to bed in its docking station every night. But yeah, definitely. I'm pretty sure there's going to be some individuals out there though that really want this white controller just because of how sharp, white is a very sharp looking color as long as you can keep it clean.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, personally, I think it looks all right. I'm not in the market for one personally, especially since I got the Halo Infinite Master Chief one. That was really hard to get, by the way.
One. You got that one. See, that was I had bought my Elite controller, I guess, like 9 months before that thing even got released. So there was no way that I could definitely get another one.
Totally. General MLD, buddy, do you got any thoughts on this? Did you see the controller at all? And if so, like, do you like the look of it? Do you think we'll be hearing about an official announcement sometime soon?
Oh yeah, like I've seen it. It looks great. And Xbox, why do one custom controller design when you can do 20? I feel like that's just what they do. Like everyone has different tastes. The more you make, the more you end up buying. Something appeals to someone uniquely. Is it for me? No, because I got the Halo Infinite one also myself. So my Elite 2 controller needs are pretty good right now. The one thing I will say any revision could have is that the Halo Elite controller lacks the record button that's on the standard Xbox Series X controllers. If it could just have that, I think that would just be a simple but needed revision. But other than that, I mean, hey, people who like the color, like the design of it. Yeah, go for it. Just another controller out of many that we know about.
Yeah, I mean, you think that they would do like the custom Elites at some point? I mean, I know that they're the pricier controller, but yeah, I think people would like to see some custom Elite stuff. Actually, wait, do they?
Sure.
They don't have that yet, right?
No. I mean, like these are like $100, like $200, $300 controllers here. I don't know. So I don't know about that. How much of a market there is for that? But I mean, well, why not? Let's just see what sticks.
Yeah. No, fair point. Fair point. Dots, buddy. I'll hit you up on this one next. What do you think? I don't know if you've gotten a chance to see some of the leaked video coming out or pictures. Again, not the first time. Over the past few months, we've seen them pop up already. Seems to be some legitimate boxing here. Do you like the look of the controller? Can you see it released soon?
Well, I mean, I also already have my own Elite 2 controller. Honestly, my favorite part about it is just the weight of it. I love just having that heft in my hands. I have very large hands, so it doesn't feel fragile when I'm squeezing my hands at stress or just hitting the triggers and all that stuff.
Well, there's
the only problem I've ever
sorry, I was just gonna say there's a never-ending story joke there, but go ahead.
And the only problem I've ever had with it was like the little slides on the back that it let you either make the triggers more sensitive or you don't have to press them down all the way. I've had like one of those slides break off on actually both of the controllers. I've actually gotten two because when I got a thumbstick to break on one, I replaced it immediately, and then everything was hunky dory peachy keen. No, I have no issues with it. I saw the white one. I thought it's interesting that it's obviously advertised as white, but the hand grips are black still. Yeah. So the only thing that's white is obviously the part you see, not the part you hold. So which makes sense. I mean, then you're not looking at it. In that regard, I kind of like it because I mean, as someone was saying earlier about getting it dirty and whatnot, it's kind of like a white car where white cars show dirt more than black cars kind of thing. And that's definitely even if you shower and wash your hands regularly, you got your dead skin sticking to it or sweat on it, whatever, and it will show a lot more on a white controller. But the fact that the grip is black and the rest of it's white, I think that's actually very smartly done. Would I get one if I didn't have a completely black one? Probably only because the Xbox One X I have is white, but also at the same time I wouldn't, because I almost exclusively use it for my PC right now, and my PC is black, and so I have a black Xbox controller, and so they fit perfectly. I honestly, as people might, be like, oh, I want a pure white one or a pure black one. I think this mix is actually pretty good. I personally like it. And have I actually, play on the console more than I do now, or I didn't have the one I currently have, I would probably pick it up instead of the mono black one. So I say mono black. That's just a Magic player thing to say. So yeah, it's leaking. No, I like it. I honestly like it. If I didn't have one, that would be probably the one I would get.
All right. No, I like your take. Very, very thoughtful there. Let's see, Crusader. I don't know if you're gonna piggyback off of Dots there, but what are your thoughts on it? Does it look cool to you? Do you think it looks legit? And if so, do you think we'll be seeing it announced sometime soon?
So I don't know how that could not be legit, right? It's the second time this has come up. It's not from like it just came from a random account. It's a video. Like it as a gaming leaks and rumors like enthusiast, this seems very hard to fake, right? Like it looked very, very real. And is it going to be announced soon? I don't know. I hope that like the white one has just been the one that has coincidentally leaked a few times, and maybe there's a couple colors, right? We've only seen white, but that doesn't mean that like, oh, white is the only one coming. You know what I mean? I'd love like a blue one. Go with the Crusader brand with the blue Garrus, the Paragon Garrus, if you will. And so I do like the white one. I think it looks good. I do prefer, like a lot of other people, I prefer the black one. I would have loved to get one of the Master Chief ones. I am in the market for a new one because mine is I have the dreaded the RB and LB's buttons like don't click properly anymore. So I am in the market for a new one. I wish it wasn't a Series 2. I wish they would move to a Series 3 and give us some like new features. You know what I mean? And just I want a full revision of the Elite controller. So it's a little disappointing that it is a new version of the Elite 2, though I'm hoping it's kind of a revision of the Elite 2, similar to like how like the Xbox like the Xbox One had multiple revisions where like same console but like the internal components are slightly different because they changed the manufacturing process to make it a little bit cheaper and a little bit sturdier and stuff like that. So I hope that like maybe this is like an Elite Series 2 like revision, like another revision, and that maybe the build quality is a little better because the build quality has been on and off, and I don't know, they might have already done a revision with the Master Chief controller. I haven't looked into that enough, and that's not something that gets a lot of publicity because like no one cares. Like it's something that only like tech enthusiasts are really going to go off about. Oh, the motherboard is like this slightly different and stuff like that, because there is a little circuit motherboard in it. And so it's cool. It's cool. More things for more people. Would like to see it come to what's the Create Your Controller service called?
Oh, the Design Lab?
Yeah, I would like to see it come to Design Lab. And then one of my friends was also like, hey, they should make the Series S covers, like the plastic cover for the Series S on Design Labs, because of how like cheap in comparison the Series S is, and you could order like custom colored Series S's. I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. A little tangential to this, but yeah, I like that like, you can get like the controllers and stuff in such wacky color combinations, stuff like that. And I wish they had a version of that for the Elite 2 controller, because like if I'm already paying like $200 for the controller, if I can customize it for like $30 more, then what's $30 more when I'm already paying, a huge fee? Let me get it exactly how I like it. You know what I mean?
All right.
Let me get that engraving on it.
Ooh, yes, totally.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Get like Crusader on the controller.
You just want a picture of Garrus on your controller. Don't
You're
lie to me.
absolutely right, but I don't think I can do that right now with Game Labs, and that makes me sad that you bring this up and give me this idea, and I can't do it.
It's funny. Like after the show, Crusader's gonna go in a corner and have a little picture of Garrus and be like, "Soon."
Well, it's not even a picture. I got the statue of him right behind me.
Oh, well, there you go. Statue, then.
Can't make this shit up.
Well, you would know.
You would know.
Exactly.
I don't wanna.
Shockley brother, you there?
Yeah.
All right. So, yeah. So, what's your take on this? Obviously, all different media has come out with regard to this leaked Elite 2 controller, the white one. I don't know. Do you like the look of it? And do you think we'll be getting an official announcement for it soon?
Yeah, more than likely, kind of like what they did with the first Elite. I'm hopeful. It'd be cool if they made those grips like white, kind of go with it. Like obviously the black one has black, and then the Master Chief one, I can't remember. Is that one black, or did they color the grips on that one like green?
I'm pretty sure it's black. No. It's black grips, and then the face plate is green.
Okay. Yeah, it would have been nice just to, because it was cool that they added grips. But I think even the original one, that when they made that white, I think the back grips were they. I can't remember. I think those were like gray back in the day, so they may have just left them gray. I can't remember. Um, but now that they're on the front, it doesn't look as nice. Like it still looks good, but like I'd probably prefer if I was gonna buy the white one, I'd probably prefer the rest of it to be white if I'm going for a white controller. Um, but more than likely, it's probably just going to be exactly like the other two. Um, and then they're probably in the works with the series, you know, three of the Elite controller. So, but then probably like haptic feedback and just other features um, that are missing. That are the only thing that's holding it back. Otherwise, it's still the best controller on the market. Um, especially when especially with like games that you can play, whether it be Halo or even like a um, Secure or something like that, where you can assign certain buttons so you can keep your hands like on the sticks. Um, it's almost a must for like games like Halo, so you can easily just maneuver around and instead of moving your finger off of the stick that allows you to move in different directions, you can just keep going as you're doing, and then either slide, jump, melee without having to waste time and move hands off your off the stick. So it's a great, awesome for people that haven't picked one up yet and they want a white one. So and then Xbox is pumping out these controllers, which is a good thing. I don't know why every time you see a new controller, people are like, "Oh my god, they're pumping out more controllers and games." Like that should be the way it goes, because it's plastic. You just print it. It doesn't take time to do. It takes a while to get a second color for PlayStation. I know it takes them a very long time to get those colors right for whatever reason. So you buy two white ones. Well, shit, I already bought two white ones. Now I have to I have extra white black controllers, and then it's like, oh well, shit, I would have bought some of the cool maybe some of those new colors had they came out when the system came out. But no, I already own a white and a black. Well, do I want to spend another $70 on a controller on a game on a system that doesn't really do much multiplayer other than like third-party games? So no. So I never get that part of the negativity about the controllers. Obviously, they're should have games out more often. Obviously, everyone knows that, but that part's always funny. It's like, oh, it's not the same department. They can make games, but
yeah, no, fair comment.
But looks good. So.
Yeah, no, I mean, it looks pretty sharp overall. I mean, I can't say it's for me personally, but overall it looks all right. But I think I'll still stick with my my Halo Infinite Master Chief one. I don't know. I like the design of it, and I'm a bit of a
rub it in, man.
Hey, man, that was hard to. That was a tricky one to get. I thought I had missed out on it, and then I saw a restock on GameStop, and I was like, all right, I'm going. I was at work and I'm like, hey, you know what? I'm gonna get this right now. And thankfully, yeah, I was able to snag one. Yeah, guys, any more thoughts and comments on this before we sign off? Yes, no? Okay. All right, I think that about does it then for tonight's show. Good stuff tonight from everyone on the panel, and as we discussed Xbox accusing Sony of blocking games from Xbox Game Pass, Unity and Microsoft forming a partnership, and a new Xbox Elite controller seems to be leaked out. Of course, shout out to everyone that joined us tonight, and if you did enjoy our back and forths, our chat, then please consider leaving a like, subbing to the channel, and share this out across social media, Twitter, or whatever your preference is. Moving over to the outros, let's start with our featured guest tonight, Dots. It was nice having you on tonight. Where can all these delightful listeners follow you at?
My Twitter tag is DotzRTS. I'm honestly just still starting up in the social media, getting my name out there world. So all of you, if you give me a follow, even just give me a message, or reply to my posts, whatever. I mean, I love to talk to you all. I'm very big in the RTS scene, at least I'm trying to get into it. And so if you like those types of games, give me a follow. And on Xbox, I am Chaos.Surus, DotzRus. Hit me up.
All right, good stuff there. Follow him. Dots certainly has some very interesting takes. Moving on down here, Centurion. Where can everybody follow you? And great show, by the way. Great commentary.
I appreciate it. Thank you, gentlemen, for another great Sunday night conversation. Thank you to everybody in the chat who joined us. Be sure to give a like and subscribe. Invader is a very hardworking individual to make TXR function. For those interested in finding me, you can find me at Centurion1307 at Twitter, Xbox Live. You can also find me on my YouTube channel. Like I keep telling everybody, I took a pause for a little while on making content, but there is podcasts that pop up there every now and then. One of them will take place tomorrow on Stubbs' channel, though. Me and him are going to be doing plastic platforms tomorrow. Wednesday, I'm going to be on Gaming Beyond the Box. You can find me over there with Wilmy Hood and the amazing cast that he has on Gaming Beyond the Box. And you can also find me here every Sunday night on TXR with these amazing gentlemen.
All right, good stuff. And thank you. Thank you for your nice words. Moving on down here, General MLD, buddy, I thought you had some really solid points tonight as per usual. Where can these kind folks follow you?
Thank you. It was a great show. You guys can find me at MLD Ghost on Twitter. You're always finding me almost every day. They're just picking a fight with this and that. Otherwise, you'll find me on Xbox at Ghost MLD. Find me playing whatever I'm playing there. Always message me. Otherwise, yeah, great show, and looking forward to the next one.
You pick a fight? Never. What are you talking about, MLD?
I know, right?
Never, ever. No. All's fair in love and social spaces, right? Moving on down here, Eric Shockley, buddy. Hey, another good show, another solid effort. Where can everybody find you at?
Yeah, as always, you can find me at Shocknear on Twitter, Easy Shock on Xbox Live. But yeah, good show. Thanks for our guest stopping by, and have a good night.
All right. And last but certainly not least here, we got Crusader. Buddy, great having you as always. I thought you had some really, really good points too. And yeah, where can everybody follow you at?
Yeah, I'm at Crusader3456 on Twitter. Every platform is Crusader3456, I think, except for Steam, where I'm Crusader Lord of the Realm, the big music reference that I think one person has ever realized what it's a reference to on my timeline, and it hit my day. So yeah, follow me around for gaming and my paragraph long takes, because I'm like an ent. If something's worth saying, it's worth saying like long and elaborate. But yeah, great show tonight, and it was great having the part of me that is insane on the show with me tonight with Dots, one of my best friends. So it was great having him on.
Yeah, no, I appreciate having him on, and hope he gets. Love to see him more involved in the podcast space. He certainly has the voice for it. Okay, guys, and to close off the group, you can find my content on YouTube at Invader Gaming, and of course, you can catch me on Twitter at Invader_1986. Great show tonight, and I hope to see you all here on the next one. Later, everyone.